Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please accept my humble obeisances at all your divine lotus feet. Thank you so much for being here. It's a strict order by my mentor, Shyam Kishore Prabhuji, that I need to sit on the chair, so please excuse me. I have to obey. We'll begin with Jai Radha Madhava. Dear devotees in Zoom, hope you can hear me and see me.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Radha Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodhan Praja Jana Yashodhan Yashodhan Praja Yamuna Ravanacha Yamuna Ravanacha Jai Radha Jana Yashodhan Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Once again, thank you all so much for being here. We'll begin with Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. We'll start with the invocation prayers. Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप दामय्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथं विदं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौरी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे। With the touch of knowledge, I offer my sincere Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 8, verse number 47. This chapter is entitled as Dhruva Maharaj leaves home for the forest. Verse number 47. Before beginning to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, I sincerely seek the blessings of His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhuji, all the assembled Vaishnavas here, to bless me and give me the right words to speak. Srivatsankam Ganashyamam Srivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankachakra Gada Padmair Shankachakra Abhivyakta Chadurbhujam Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam Srivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankachakra Gada Padmair Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam Srivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankachakra Gada Padme Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam. Srivatsankam Ganashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankachakra Gada Padme Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam. Synonyms: Srivatsa Ankam. The mark of Srivatsa on the chest of the Lord. Ganashyamam, deeply bluish. Purusham, the Supreme Person. Vanamalinam, with a garland of flowers. Shankar, conch shell. Chakra, wheel. Gada, club. Padmaiha, lotus flower. Abhivyakta, manifested. Chatubhujam, four-handed. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord is further described as having the mark of Srivatsa, or the sitting place of the goddess of fortune, and his bodily hue is deeply bluish. The Lord is a person. He wears a garland of flowers, and he is eternally manifested with four hands, which hold, beginning from the lower left hand, a conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. Purport. Here in this verse, the word Purusham is very significant. The Lord is never female, he is always male, Purusha. Therefore, the impersonalist who imagines the Lord's form as that of a woman is mistaken. The Lord appears in female form if necessary, but his perpetual form is Purusha because he is originally male. The feminine feature of the Lord is displayed by goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, Radharani, Sita, etc. All these goddesses of fortune are servitors of the Lord. They are not the supreme, as falsely imagined by the impersonalist. Lord Krishna, in his Narayana feature, is always four-handed. On the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Arjuna wanted to see his universal form, he showed this feature of four-handed Narayana. Some devotees are of the opinion that Krishna is an incarnation of Narayana, but the Bhagavad school says that Narayana is a manifestation of Krishna. The translation once again, the Lord is further described as having the mark of Srivatsa or the sitting place of goddess of fortune, and his bodily hue is deeply bluish. The Lord is a person, he wears a garland of flowers, and he is eternally manifest with four hands, which hold beginning from the lower hand, a conch shell, wheel, club, and lotus flower. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Once again, thank you all for being here. We are reading Dhruva Charitra. Dhruva Charitra is one of the most important subject matter in spiritual subject matters. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally would love to hear the Dhruva Charitra again and again and again from the lotus lips of Gadadhar Pandit in Tota Gopinath temple. And he would ask him to repeat again and again and again. He would relish the pastimes of Dhruva. And one time, one of the disciples of Prabhupada, he asked, Prabhupada, how did you achieve this phenomenal success? Nobody has done it so far like this. Despite having so many distractions in this modern world, how did you achieve this spiritual success? Then Prabhupada narrated the story of Dhruva, how at a 5-year-old boy, and what he did do when he was insulted by his mother, it was so painful. Then he narrated an entire story and said, we follow in the footsteps of Dhruva Maharaj. And Dhruva Maharaj's determination is like a lighthouse for all the devotees, whatever may be the situation. It is very inspiring to see how a 5-year-old boy did this amazing, service. And one time, another devotee asked, like generally after hearing Dhruva Maharaj, because the word Dhruva itself also means determination. Everybody wants to have the determination because that is one of the key aspects, right? We need to have the determination to perform and continue devotional service. So one devotee asked, how do we get this, develop the same determination as Dhruva Maharaj? Prabhupada beautifully said, very succinct, very crisp. He said, just follow the process sincerely. Chant, serve, and read Srimad Bhagavatam. 4 things. Just follow the process sincerely, chant, serve, and read Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada made this classic statement. Then Krishna will give you determination because we cannot have it. It has to be given. It is a mercy. Krishna will give you determination. Then further he said, if a small boy, 5-year-old boy as Dhruva can do this, could succeed, then why not you? Prabhupada looked at the disciple and said, the only difference is sincerity. That's why Prabhupada used the word sincere in the beginning itself. The word is sincerity. The key is sincerity. We all want to be determined. And the conversation begins, it started from the previous chapters itself. It's the samvad happening between Maitreya Rishi and Vidura. Both are exalted personalities. Vidura is one of the Mahajans. And when they are discussing, we know how Bhagavatam, opens up. Discussion within the discussion within the discussion, right? So first conversation between who? Sutta Goswami to the sages. And then within that is the Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj. Within that is Maitreya Rishi to Vidura. And how he opens up when Maitreya Rishi, how he narrates this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. And this Dhruva Maharaj Charitra, from the beginning it is inspiring. It is like a fast-paced, amazing movie. 5-year-old boy. What he wanted, just wanted to sit on the lap of his father. That's all he wanted. But his mother, because the movie becomes very interesting when there is a strong villain. Right? Initially itself, he is only a 5-year-old boy, but his stepmother, Suruchi, was very harsh, like a sword-like words. She said, you don't have any qualification to sit on the lap or even the throne. For that, You need to worship Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and get favored by him so that you can take birth in my womb. Then you can get qualification to sit on the lap of your father. What harshness it is. And can you imagine she is speaking to a 5-year-old boy? And Dhruva Maharaj, he got, first of all, it was a shock because he was sitting on his father, trying to sit on his father. He was shocked and the pain started. That's what happens, that immediately his face became red and he started crying profusely. And he ran from the place, went to his mother, Suniti. And Suniti was not favored by Uttanapad. And let us also now remind ourselves, Uttanapad and Priyavrata, they are the most illustrious sons of Swayambhu Manu, who is the plenary expansion of the Supreme Lord. They are not ordinary people, very illustrious, highly qualified. Bhagavatam says, highly qualified people. So we are talking about that person. Generally, we tend take it for granted. Uttanapad, he didn't really take care. But he is a ordinary person, exalted person. But he kept quiet. Sometimes silence is biggest mistake. When we are silent, when there is some bad things, some injustice happens, at that time, if somebody is keeping silent, it is a great injustice. That's what we could see. He looked at his father, he didn't say anything. That increased the pain. Then he ran immediately to the mother. And when he reached the mother, he couldn't say anything because he was crying. So the people who saw in the assembly, who witnessed, they narrated the entire incident to Suniti. This is what happened. Your, uh, this stepmother of Dhruva, Suruchi, she was very harsh on him. She said words like this. Then immediately, and how Bhagavatam describes Dhruva Maharaj, he was like a snake beaten by a stick. He was literally writhing in pain in his heart. And the same when it comes to Suniti, Bhagavatam says she was burning like forest fire. In that fire, she became like a burnt leaf. That was her situation because she felt very helpless. And she said, the first instruction Suniti gave was, don't wish any inauspiciousness for others. Because whatever you wish to inauspiciousness for others, that can happen to us. That will come back to us. Basically, the point about how we need to be very careful about. And then she said, whatever Suruchi said, it's fact. You should go to Narayan and worship. Whatever desires you have, akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarani tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Let's try to understand. All these personalities are fully matured in devotional service. Very crisp, clear instruction. She said, you need to worship the Supreme Lord, and for that, you need to go to the forest. And Bhagavatam very nicely says, he contemplated Dhruva Maharaj. He didn't immediately leave like that. He thought about it with determination. He left for forest. And Bhagavatam says he left his father's palace, father's house. Then he went. And Krishna is the super soul. And Krishna knew this personality's determination. And he knew this person will be glorified for centuries and millennium and yugas, that people will glorify Dhruva Maharaj. So he sent his, amazing devotee, Narada Muni. Narada Muni is practically the spiritual master of all the great personalities. Whomever you see, Prahlad Maharaj, disciple of Narada Muni. Prachetas, disciple of Narada Muni. Like that, we can go on. And Narada Muni has a very wonderful way of sharing Krishna consciousness, preaching Krishna consciousness in a very unique way to each one. When we read the pages of Bhagavatam, each personality was dealt in a very nice way, very different way. How he dealt with Prahlad Maharaj, how he dealt with Prachetas, how he dealt with Puranjana, they're all very, very unique situations. And Narada Muni is super expert. So he came immediately and touched with his lotus hand, and then he generally gave a generic instruction. He gave very wonderful instruction, generic instruction. But after hearing he spoke about Maya, he spoke about karma, and he also said we should be equipoised in both distress and happiness. It's very important, very nice. But Dhruv Maharaj, with humility, he said very clearly, whatever instruction you gave for getting peace of mind in difficult situation is perfect, you know. But I'm in mode of ignorance. For me, it doesn't appeal to me. Please excuse. So that was his attitude. Narad Muni, mission accomplished. He was testing his determination and he really got yes. Then he started giving specific instruction. That is the time he said. Then again, with so much heat, Bhagavatam says he blessed him. Then he gave the instructions. You should go to Yamuna, take bath and go to Madhuvan, Vrindavan. And he also mentioned you need to take 3 times bath in Kalindi, Yamuna, and then perform Ashtam Yoga, which was the process in that yoga. All the 8 processes, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. And then he mentioned that you need to perform this pranayama, breathing exercise 3 times, sit on asana, then meditate on the Supreme Lord. He didn't stop there. Then he gave, how to meditate. He started narrating the features of the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So in that section, we are now discussing. So now he is discussing the features of the Supreme Lord. So he is giving a very vivid description how he appears. He says the Lord is further, he has the mark of Srivatsa. First point is Srivatsa. We know what is Srivatsa, right? The Srivatsa mark is the very clear, differentiating mark from all the other residents of Vaikuntha. In Salokya, when Sarupa Mukti, all the residents of Vaikuntha, they look very similar. But what differentiates them? It's a Srivatsa mark. And what is that Srivatsa mark? It is a curl of hair, Prabhupada explains. And it is on the right side of the chest of the Lord. And what is the word Srivatsa means? The beloved of Sri. And further, he says, are the sitting place of the goddess of fortune. That is the place. We have seen, all the pictures or the deities of Lord Vishnu has the form of Mother Lakshmi in his chest. It's a sitting place. And his body he has a hue, a complexion of deeply bluish, Ganashyamam. And Lord is a person, Purusham, and he wears a garland of flowers, Vanamalina. Then he's giving him so that he can, visualize the personality and then meditate on the personality. Then he gave the mantra, which was the Maha Mantra in that age, is Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So very systematic presentation. All happened without preparation, on the spot. And because Narada Muni was very pleased with Dhruva's determination. And he gave. Let's try to understand a few aspects. Like, in the 89th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, when the sages near river Saraswati, when they had this confusion, who is the Supreme? Okay. Thank you. When they had this confusion, when they had doubt, who is the Supreme Mom? There are, Radhika Vallabh once gave a very nice class. He said there are some 3 important confusions in Hinduism. The first one is which is similar to the second offense of the holy name. Many people think Shiva, Vishnu, and Brahma they are equal. And we have heard that they are not equal. And in fact, their source, Brahma and Shiva's source is Lord Vishnu. So they appointed Bhrigu Muni, who was very qualified Rishi. They said, please sort it out. Then we know the pastime, how Bhrigu Muni went to different places. First he went to Brahmaji and he did a mental offense by not respecting Brahmaji. Brahmaji's eyes became red. So he understood he's getting angry, he's not the supreme. Then he went to Lord Shiva and he did a verbal offense. He literally spoke very harsh words on Lord Shiva. He was testing him. And Lord Shiva also became angry by his harsh words. He came to embrace his brother Bhrigu. But by hearing the harsh words, he became upset. He took his Trishul. Then Parvati Mother said, please stop it. Then he left the place. Then he went to Vaikuntha. In Vaikuntha, that time, Lord was, lying on the lap of Mother Lakshmi. At that time, he, without knocking at the door, without informing, straight he went inside and gave a very strong kick on the chest of the Lord. This is a physical offense, mental, verbal, and a physical offense. And it is a horrible offense, kicking the Supreme Lord. And what was the response of the Lord and Mother Lakshmi? Immediately, both of them raised from the seat. They did not give a tight slap. That's what is a natural response is, how dare you can kick me? How dare you can enter my, personal chamber like this? No, not at all. They immediately stood up and they offered their asan, said, please sit and we want to wash your lotus feet and, take the nectar of that water. Bhrigu Muni he was shocked now. He was completely bewildered and tears started profusely coming from his eyes. He was literally crying. He was dumbstruck. He couldn't speak anything. When you are in deep emotion, you don't have any words. He became completely silent, but tears were profusely coming from his eyes. Then he went back. He understood Vishnu is the supreme. Then he went back to the sages and narrated the entire thing. Then we understand, the past time happened. Those of you who are from southern part of India and you know the story of Balaji, what happened after that. Some other time we can discuss that. So the point here is we understand Vishnu is the supreme. He is the supreme person. Again and again and again, it has been emphasized in Srimad Bhagavatam in various sections. When we see in the same 89th chapter of the 10th canto, that chapter is entitled as Krishna and Arjuna retrieve a Brahmana's sons. In that, we can see furthermore how he emphasizes the supremacy of Lord. We all know the pastime. This happened actually, Srinath Swami, he explained this particular pastime happened before Kurukshetra, but it appears in Bhagavatam later, but this happened before Kurukshetra. So one time, there was a Brahmana in Dwaraka. He, had a very tragic situation. His son, who was newly born, he immediately died. So he became so painful. It is very clearly understood in Vedic culture, father has to live, the son has to live longer than the father. But this happened just opposite. So he became very aggrieved. He brought the body to King Ugrasen and showed him literally and started screaming in pain. He said, this person is duplicitous and he does not have any qualities to be as a king. And because of this greedy, and he is also an enemy of a Brahmana. That's why this situation happened to me. He started screaming. Can you understand that Ugrasen is the emperor? He is coming straight and screaming at him. And Ugrasen did not retaliate. He didn't put him in jail. That was the real freedom of expression. Anybody could say it directly. And this happened not just once. 9 times it happened consecutively. The Brahmana was so painful to see the situation. Because for any parent, that is the worst thing that can happen. At that time, the 9th time, when this Brahmana was literally, chastising Ugrasen, that time Arjuna was happened to be there by side of Keshava, Krishna. And he said, what is happening? Then, several discussion happened and he gave an assurance. Brahmana, I'll be there to protect this time. Don't worry. The Brahmana initially said, what can you do? Pradyumna, Aniruddha, they all cannot do. What can you do? He said, but don't underestimate me. I have my Gandiva. So I will prove. And he said, finally he got convinced. When his wife, Brahmana's wife, became pregnant for the 10th time, he came to Arjuna and said, with happiness, he invited him, please come and give protection. Arjuna came with his Gandiva. He made a fort with arrows. He literally made a cage of arrows of the Brahmana's house so that nobody can come in and kill the child. Child was born. He heard the sound, the crying of the baby. Arjuna felt a little happy, but suddenly the sound disappeared. Then he saw the baby was disappearing, vanishing in the sky. He was wondering, what is this happening? The Brahmana became so upset. And it was a very strong word. He called Arjuna as a eunuch. What? You gave a big, big promise, but you're good for nothing. What did you do? Arjuna could take it. Nobody has said like this to me. Immediately went to, the place of Yamaraj in the heavenly planets. And he was looking there, here, he went to all the 14 planetary systems. He could not locate the Brahmins. So finally he came back. He said, as I promised, I could not protect your son. So I'm going to enter the fire. And Arjuna was ready to enter the fire. He wanted to keep his promise. And then at that time, Krishna intervened. Krishna said, Arjuna, stop. Don't do like this. He will sort this out. He said, come with me. He said, come on my chariot. So Krishna took Arjuna on his chariot. The chariot went above all the Saptadvipas. He went even above the Loka mountain. And then went further. It was a dense, dark area. And the chariot was going further. And all the four horses of Krishna's chariot, they could not see. All the Saitya, Sugriva, those were the horses' names. They could not see in the darkness. At that time, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Krishna released his chakra in front. The chakra was giving him literally like the headlights. Probably that was the first headlights in the history of the creation. And this was the best. And it was giving a very clear path to go further. Then they went above beyond the universal scale. They went to the planet of the place of Mahavishnu. They went to the causal ocean. There, both Arjuna and Krishna, they reached causal ocean and was able to have darshan of Karma Daksayami Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu. And the description in Bhagavad Gita 89 chapter is so beautiful. How this, Mahavishnu's place looks like. But at the jewels, it appears so bright. He was describing the beauty of Adisesha, how Lord is lying on Adisesha. An amazing description. And as soon as Mahavishnu saw Krishna and Arjuna, he became so happy with beaming smile. He said, "Oh Krishna, oh Arjuna." Then they exchanged, loving exchange. But Acharya says, especially our Vishwanath Chakravarti Path, he explains this pastime. When we read the pages of Bhagavad Gita, the translation, we completely get bewildered. So Krishna and Arjuna, they are coming and take, the blessings of taking darshan of Mahavishnu. And when you see the words of Mahavishnu, it will appear that, okay, you both you are already performing your duties nicely. After performing your duty, please come back to me, send all the demons here so that we'll take care of the liberation. So it's like very authoritative. So Arjuna was bewildered. What is happening? And we will fast get bewildered if we read only the translation. Because the purport there will give us a clear understanding. What is there in the heart of Mahavishnu also, it is given in the purport. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Pal explains. So after this, Krishna and Arjuna, when they were returning, in the complete excitement, Arjuna is feeling, what a great fortune. This all happened by the mercy of Krishna. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Pal explains, Arjuna is asking, so how did this happen? We were able to take darshan of Supreme Personality. When he was saying this, he said, wait a minute. Supreme Personality. But what was the word he used? He said, I've been waiting to see you. Mahavishnu said, I've been waiting to see you, Krishna and Arjuna. And Acharya, they say, he used the word Trikshuna, not Trikshana. That is a different. Suna means it's a permanent thing. That means he's been waiting for a long time. Oh, that means Mahavishnu has been waiting to see Krishna. Take darshan of Krishna a very long time. What could have been the cause? Why can't he come down to Dwarka and have darshan of Krishna? Then he was thinking, oh, nobody can barge in to take darshan of Krishna without his sanction. So maybe that could be the cause. Then further he thinks, okay, he didn't get the sanction yet. why did he come every time? Because Mahavishnu, when they went, he said, I stole the sons of Brahmana on purpose. Not just one. How many? 10 sons, one by one. He said these words, I stole that in a Brahmana son so that I can have your audience. Why does he have to come in person, first of all? He could have sent a servant. Why does he has to come all the way to Dwaraka? Then he thinks, Arjuna is thinking, oh, because who can stole the Brahmana's son in the kingdom of Krishna? Who has the audacity? Who has the courage to do it except Krishna? Only he could do it. So he has to come in person every time. Why? Because he wanted to take darshan of the Lord. And when he uses the, then he understands that means Mahavishnu was praying and waiting so that he can have the darshan of Krishna. Then the next question came to Arjuna. These are all the words of Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. He further says, Arjuna was thinking, hey, come on, but this is a heinous crime. First of all, Krishna is Namo Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hidayacha. He's very dear to the Brahmanas. How can Vishnu steal the son of a Brahmana by killing them literally? This is a big problem. How could he do that? Then he went on to think that because Mahavishnu's eagerness was so great, he understood Krishna is very dear to Brahmanas and cows. So if I have to make Krishna come, you remember the instruction, but this is in a very different way. How Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, right? Don't try to see Krishna, act in such a way that Krishna wants to see you. But he used in a very different way. How do I make Krishna wants to see me? Then he did this particular pastime. So by doing this, because he is the protector of the Brahmanas, so he will come for sure. So he made Krishna come, literally. It's like forcing Krishna to come. Then Arjuna is asking, what is this Krishna? Is it all because of your pastime? Okay. Yes, because he wanted to see me. Who is he? Mahavishnu. And he thought, Krishna is saying, he thought, by doing this to the Brahmana, I will be forced to come. So I will come and give him audience. So Krishna said, and the next explanation of Vishnu Chakravarti is very, very, very touching. Then he looked at Arjuna. But the truth is, I did not go to bring back the sons of Brahmana. I went to protect you, Arjuna, my devotee, to protect you from death. Arjuna's heart melted. Before, Mahavishnu gave all the sons of the Brahmanas, all the 10 sons. Now, after hearing this, Arjuna and Krishna, they gave all the sons to the Brahmana and he became very happy. But this pastime, when we read the purport, we understand how deep it is. Without the purport of Prabhupada and his disciples, we can never understand. Because they can see, the great Acharyas, they can see the heart of the Supreme Lord, heart of the pure devotees. Then they can reveal the secret to us. In that way, Arjuna understood in this pastime that Krishna is a supreme person. He is the source of that Mahavishnu, who is earnestly, eagerly waiting to have the darshan of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So, by all these pastimes, we can clearly understand again and again. The Bhagavata school is very clear. Who is the Supreme? Krishna is the Supreme. From Krishna comes Vishnu's. In fact, they are the expansion of the expansion of the expansion of the expansion. From Krishna comes Balaram, then comes the first Chaturvyuha. From that Mula Shankar comes Narayan. From him comes the second Chaturvyuha. From that Mahasankarshan comes Karmadaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Shirodaksha Vishnu. And who is there? In every living entity is super soul. So from this, we can understand because of the mercy of Srimad Bhagavatam that Krishna is the supreme. Now coming back to the point, we need to understand a few more aspects. Like he also mentions about the 4 symbolic representations, 4 symbols. Oh, what are they? Shankha, Chakra, Kada, Padma. One devotee very nicely said, he has 4 symbols. Shankha, Padma. Both are for Paritranaya Sadhuna. And Chakra and Gada are for Vinashaya Chanuskrita. That is basically these 2 weapons. You have seen Krishna used as Varahadev and also as Narsimhadev used the club to kill Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. And he used Chakra to kill Shishupal and so many demons, Mura, many demons. But when it comes to devotee, he uses the Shankha and the lotus flower. What did he do after seeing Dhruva? He touched his head with the Shankha. So lotus flower also. And lotus flower symbolizes purity. We know lotus flower, many times it comes in a very muddy word, but no contamination affects lotus flower. Padma Prema Bhagavad Gita says it is untouched by any contaminations. So these two, that's why we see the lotus flower is always lotus eyes, lotus feet, lotus head, lotus mouth. Everything amazing aspects of the features of the Supreme Lord is connected with lotus. And these two, lotus and Shankha, are for the devotees, for the protection of the devotees. And many times, there are some pastimes how he obtained Shankha by Panchajanya, killing Panchajana, he acquired this Panchajanya. And for Gaumodaki also, Gaumodaki is the maize club, and Chakra is Sudarshan. And it is mentioned, when I was narrating the pastime of Krishna and Arjuna going to Castle Ocean to see Mahavishnu, then the description says all these, weapons and all the paraphernalia, they are serving Vishnu in their personalized feature. So all these symbolic representation, they have a personal feature. So Sudarshan is a person. Gaumodaki is a person. They were all serving Vishnu in their personal feature. Everybody, including Mother Lakshmi, was serving the Supreme. And when all this symbolic representation is a personalized feature, what to talk about Krishna? He is a supreme person. From him, everything emanates. Because many times this confusion comes because of Mayavadis. They get confused. They say the impersonal aspect is the supreme. From him comes Krishna's personal feature. That is a big misconception. This is one of the second big conception in Hinduism. They think like this, but Krishna very clearly says, Brahmanohi Krishna. He says, I am the source of the impersonal Brahman. Very clearly Krishna said. Bhagavad Gita clarifies every single doubt from the beginning. This is in 14th chapter, the last verse. But in the 7th chapter itself, Krishna very clearly clarified that the impersonal feature, in fact, he uses the word Abuddhaya. Only low intelligent people will think like that. The other real source is Krishna. From Krishna comes the impersonal feature. So every word in this purport, we can go on discussion, with the discussion of amazing aspects. And tomorrow being the divine appearance day of Sripad Ishwarapuri, I'll just speak a few words about Ishwarapuri, if that is okay. Sripad Ishwarapuri is the spiritual master of our beloved Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Ishwarapuri appeared in a town called Kumarahata in West Bengal. And how Bhagavatam and Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Chaitanya Charitamrita, he emphasizes, focuses the quality of Ishwarapuri. What was his quality? And his service attitude towards his spiritual master Madhavendra Puri. And Solanat Raghunath Maharaj mentioned in one of the lecture a very important point for all of us to understand. This happened, I heard it from Muralidhar Prabhu, who is a transcendentist, he's a dentist by profession. And they went for a trip to Kurukshetra. There were only 6 devotees with Maharaj. So Raghunath Maharaj mentions this particular. He actually narrated several pastimes that happened in New Vrindavan, how difficult it was situation, many things. After narrating, he made a very, very important statement. He said, I'm not impressed by, the great singing, the devotees who sing amazingly. I'm not impressed by eloquent speakers. I'm not impressed, so he was saying these qualities, impressed by the scores of, sometimes we say it's very important services. All these are very important services, kirtan, classes. But the point he wanted to emphasize, but I bow down to the lotus feet of the devotee who has come humble service attitude. He said, I'm not impressed with great Kirtan singers, I'm not impressed with the great eloquent speakers, but I bow down to the lotus feet of devotees who have humble service attitude. Then we can clearly connect with this humble service attitude of Ishwarapuri. That is what his stature was. Ishwarapuri, he was a great sannyasi, very great scholar. But what was his attitude? With such humility, he served as spiritual master Madhavendra Puri. And we know Madhavendra Puri is the desert tree, Kalpataru. And it is mentioned, Maharaj is mentioning that Madhavendra Puri, he is the one who introduced this Vipralamba Bhava. In fact, the conjugal love aspect of bhakti was introduced by Madhavendra Puri in Madhva Sampradaya. Until then, until Lakshmipati Tirtha, there was no conjugal love in Madhva Sampradaya. They had a lot of ritualistic ceremonies, they are Tattvavadis. But they have not, there is no aspect of conjugal love there. Only Madhavendra Puri introduced. He is the one first brought the Vipralamba Bhava, that is the devotion in separation of Krishna, the gopis. He brought that. That's why Mahaprabhu calls Madhavendra Puri as the root of the Sampradaya. And then his disciple Ishwarapuri is the sapling. The root, it gave out a sapling. And that is Ishwarapuri. Then the trunk came. Then the trunk is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And from that trunk came so many wonderful branches. The two main branches are Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, and several other branches. Prabhupada also mentioned ISKCON is also one of the wonderful branches of this tree of Chaitanya. So we can see that sapling after the root of the tree, Madhavendra Puri. The sapling is Ishwarapuri. And he was serving him with such devotion, such amazing attitude of humility. Even though he is a great scholar, he never showed to the outside world that he knows everything. He was always taking a humble position. And he would serve very menially. He was taking care of the daily needs. Towards the end of the pastimes of Madhavendra Puri, it was so difficult for him to even do the self-care activities. So, Ishwar Puri would do, he would clean him up and he would do everything. We all know the famous pastime. Our Ramchandra Puri, one of the other disciple of Madhavendra Puri, was also a scholar, was also a sannyasi. But he came and he completely displeased Madhavendra Puri. Because Madhavendra Puri, he was in deep separation from Krishna, in the mood of the gopis. He was saying this prayer of Srimati Radharani, the very famous prayer. What is that prayer? Thank you, Prabhu. Ayiti Dayatra Nathahe Mathura Nath Kada Alokyasya. So it says, Dinatra. What does that mean? Oh, merciful master. Natha, oh, merciful master. Oh, master of Mathura. So basically, this is the prayer of Srimati Radharani. After Krishna left in separation, seeking, praying to Krishna. Where are you? Where did you go? My heart is so painful. It is so aggrieved. In that situation, I am unsteady. Kim Karam, what shall I do now? It's the prayer of Srimati Radharani. This prayer has been sung by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again and again. In fact, he wouldn't even say the first line itself. He would say, Ai Dina, Ai Dina, Ai Dina, then would be choked. So he was in this meditation, Madhavendra Puri. He was saying this verse and meditating on this pastimes. But Ramchandra Puri, he misunderstood completely. He came to his Guru and he had that arrogance to correct his Guru, give instruction to his Guru. He came and said, Oh, spiritual master, why are you lamenting? Why do you need to lament? If Krishna doesn't come, impersonal feature, you can worship impersonal. The word impersonal feature itself, Ajit became completely upset Madhavendra Puri. He chastised, literally kicked him out of the place. I don't want to see you again anytime. Get out of this place. And he was so displeased. And from that time onwards, Ramchandra Puri, he lost his spiritual credentials practically. And he became very offensive in nature. He started finding faults with devotees. He went to such an extent that he was even finding fault with Mahaprabhu. That is because he displeased. He didn't know the heart of the spiritual master. Whereas Ishwarapuri, the great personality, he knew the heart of spiritual master, and he would, chant the holy names constantly. Nirantara, what is the word? Nirantara Harinama. So he was kept on chanting, and he would also narrate the pastimes of Krishna in the ears of Madhavendra Puri all the time, knowing that this is what my spiritual master wants. By seeing this, apart from doing his regular activities, he didn't stop. He continued to clean him himself, take care of himself, feeding him, everything personally, and doing chanting as well as narrating the pastimes of the Lord. By seeing this, Madhavendra Puri's heart became so pleased, and he gave the utmost blessing. He said, I will pray to Krishna that he be pleased with you. And he further said, let him bless you to become a devotee and lover of Krishna. That is the ultimate blessing anyone can get. Since he pleased Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri is one of the greatest lovers of Krishna. He was so deep in his meditation. So after the departure of Madhavendra Puri, he was traveling to several places. But at none of the places he would reveal. Generally, when you serve such a great Acharya, Madhavendra Puri will generally like to say, I was the personal servant, was the long time serving servant who took care of. But he never revealed his identity. Many times he would come to, Navadvip. One time he was staying at the place of Gopinath Acharya for several months. And he did not reveal to him that he is Ishwarapuri. He did not even reveal that he is Ishwarapuri. Then he would go to Advaita Acharya's place, and he would sit there in one corner and see how Advaita Acharya performs worship. And when he gives classes with rapt attention, he would hear. And Advaita Acharya, being the Supreme Lord's incarnation, he knew he's not an ordinary person. He asked him, Baba, who are you? You appear like a Vaishnava sannyasi. But Ishwarapuri immediately said, I am a Shudra. I just came to take darshan of your lotus feet, O great Acharya. What's his mood? And then, at that time, Mukunda Datta, he was also there present in Advaita Acharya's house. And he understood, to invoke a devotee's emotion, what do you need to do? Kirtan. So he started a kirtan. As soon as Ishwarapuri heard the kirtan, he went into the ecstasy, he fell unconscious, and his tears wet the ground. Advaita Acharya understood, hey, this is Ishwarapuri, great personality. He is the foremost, Raghunath Maharaj said this word, he is the foremost disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri has so many illustrious, great personalities, disciples. Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, Paramananda Puri, so many personalities. But because of his humble service attitude, Ishwarapuri is considered as the foremost disciple of Madhavendra. Advaita Acharya found out he is the Ishwarapuri. Then, they had such wonderful loving exchanges. And further, he was also so impressed with Gadadhar Pandit, seeing his demeanor, seeing his gentle nature, and he would love to, narrate the descriptions of his scripture. He has written this book known as Sri Krishna Leelamrita. He would love to narrate, and Gadadhar Pandit would hear with rapt attention. And one time, when he saw Nimai Pandit, as soon as he saw Nimai Pandit, at that time, Lord Chaitanya, he was a great scholar. He was a grammar teacher. He did not reveal that the pastimes of Sankirtana Yajna, that, he didn't propagate Sankirtana at that time yet. So, but by seeing him, he understood he is not an ordinary person. He is a very great spiritual personality. He understood. Then he asked him, who are you? Then our Lord's students, they said, he is Nimai Pandit. Then he understood, oh, you are that great Nimai Pandit. What are you carrying in your hand? What book do you carry? Then Nimai Pandit, immediately with humble, demeanor, he offered obeisances. And he said, I'm so happy to meet such a great personality as you. Please come to my home for lunch. So you brought Ishwarapuri. And Ishwarapuri was walking as if he was completely hypnotized. He walked with Mahaprabhu and went to the house of Mother Sachi. And Mother Sachi made amazing preparations. And Mahaprabhu and served with his personal, with his own hands, he served his spiritual master Ishwarpuri. And then they had wonderful discussions. This went on, then Ishwarpuri left. Then after some time, this is the time for Mahaprabhu to reveal his magnanimity. What is his magnanimity? He was distributing the fruits of the love of gopis to all without reservation. So he has to start that. So for that, this is the past time we all know. He went to Gaya. He went to offer Pinda for his father, departed father. After offering, he went to several places. He went to take darshan of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu there. At that time, Lord, first time in that, he demonstrated this ecstasy. He fell unconscious. And that time, Ishwarpuri happened to come. He asked Chandrasekhar Acharya, what happened? Then he narrated the whole thing. He understood it. Oh, he is the person who came to bring this Sankirtana Yajna. Then both of them had amazing exchange. At that time, Mahaprabhu says, oh great Ishwarpuri, you are the purest of all. In fact, anybody who offers Pinda in this place, only their forefather will get liberated. But by seeing you, millions of forefathers will get liberated. You are in fact purer than all these holy places. Please accept me. And then he begged for initiation. He said, my heart is restless thinking about initiation and taking an I really want to take initiation from you. Then Ishwarpuri said, what initiation? I'll give you my life. Because he understood he's a supreme person. Then we know the exchanges happened. Mahaprabhu received initiation from Ishwarpuri. Then, since it is a longer pastime, we can save some other time. Then we know how Mahaprabhu, when he went to meet Prakashananda Saraswati in Kashi, that is the time he revealed that Ishwarapuri gave permission, he gave blessings to begin Sankirtana Yajna. He said, share this, distribute this mercy to everybody without reservation. So that is the instruction came from Ishwarapuri. Then Mahaprabhu started Sankirtana Yajna and he gave Krishna Prema freely to all. So he waited for. So we all are very grateful to Ishwarapuri, this great personality. Because of him, we are here. Because of him, we have the holy name. Because of him, we understand the pages of Bhagavatam. Such is the glory of Ishwarapuri. And Mahaprabhu, after receiving initiation, he went to Kumarahatta. And there is a place known as Chaitanya Doha there. Kumarahatta is the birthplace of Ishwarapuri. And Chaitanya Doha means it's a pond. And how did that pond come about, Chaitanya Doha? Because after going from there, Mahaprabhu, he went to the birthplace of Ishwarpuri, and he grabbed some dirt from the ground and he tied in his upper garment, in the corner of his upper garment. And he would take a little bit of that dirt every day. He would consume it with great ecstasy. And he was doing it for a very long time. And by seeing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu doing this amazing act, every devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all came to take dirt from Kumarahatta. When everybody took dirt, it became a huge pit and then it got filled with water. It's known as Chaitanya Doha. And many of you have gone to Kumarahatta in Yatra. I remember Radhanath Maharaj would say, in this place, you can roll on the mud, you can bathe in the mud, you can take the mud, you can eat the mud, you can drink the dirt. Because it is the complete nectar and mercy of Ishwarapuri. So, that is the greatness and exalted nature of this great personality, Ishwarapuri, and tomorrow is his disappearance. So, let us remember and appreciate the amazing contribution of Ishwarapuri in all our lives and offer our humble prayers to him to follow in his footsteps and beg for the humble and service attitude, only through which we can please the Lord and please all the devotees. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry it took such a long time. Please excuse me. Please forgive me for taking such a long time. And any reflections? Anybody would like to comment?
spoke by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, then Arjuna comes to Lord Krishna.
Actually, yes, you're right. This was revealed, but when Krishna said that time, Arjuna understood. He understood, but it got completely revealed during Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna understood because when he said, he made this plan to see me, then he understood. I was thinking, Mahavishnu is the supreme, but that supreme is waiting to see you. That means you are the supreme. So it is clearly understood. Thank you.
Extraordinary class. I mean, I didn't even, my mind, I mean, didn't even think of the time, didn't think it was like extraordinary. So many amazing about determination, Prabhupada, uh, about Dhruva Maharaj, and then about that pastime, that how, how much Krishna loves his devotee, and that whole pastime, and then Ishwar Puri, wow, Ishwar Puri was like super nectarian. So it's like, wow. Extraordinary, extraordinary class. One of the most extraordinary classes I've heard. I'm not just flattering, but I really, wow.
Thank you for giving me the words, Prabhuji.
I'm glad I met you sit on a elevated seat.
Yes, Prabhu is saying he gave me the strict order to sit on the chair. Thank you, Prabhuji. He knows I'm weak, both physically, spiritually. He said, better sit on the chair. Don't pretend to be a pure devotee. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Extraordinary.
Very grateful, Prabhuji. Any other reflections? Any thoughts? Any questions you can ask Ramkishore Prabhuji? Fourteen planetary system is, we have this was Bhum, Bhuva, Swa. All these are planet. And then Mahaloka, Janaloka, then Tapaloka, Satyaloka. Then below also we have Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rasatala, Patala. These are down, 7. So these are the 14 planetary systems. They are in the middle. Ours is Bhumandala. And above, they are called as heavenly planets. So ours is like right in the middle. When you perform Punya, they go to the upper planets. When they perform Papa, since they go down to the lower planets. But this place is the most fortunate place where we are on Earth. Because even the demigods, they want to take birth here. Even though they have more facilities, but the better place is this. Only in this place, by chanting the holy names, by serving the devotees in humble service attitude, you can go back to the spiritual world. Even in one life, it is possible. So that opportunity is here only. That's why even the demigods, they want to take birth in earth, especially in Kali Yuga. So that is a simple thing. But the description is given in Srimad Bhagavatam in very great detail actually. So basically, above us, the 7 planets are heavenly planets. Below is the lower planets. When we go down, suffering increases. When we go down, go up, the enjoyment or say comfort increases. Is that okay? Thank you. Okay. Thank you all so much. Devotees in Zoom, anything you want to share?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was a very nice class, very grateful to you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So with that, we will conclude. Thank you all so much. Once again, please excuse me for going over time. Please forgive me for any of the offenses or mistakes I made. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. No problem.